Hey, welcome in. Welcome in. So this is the second time we're doing it. I'm just gonna say that right now. But yeah. So welcome to the podcast, Lat. You are a FTB member. You are a moderator on our Discord server. So I was really excited to have you on because I know that you sort of have your finger in a lot of parts of the community. So I wanted to just how did you get into all this? How did you end up being part of FTB and everything?
So it all started I think it was 2014. So initially I made an add-on for EE3, and that was right after the second version, which had EMC condensers and all that cool stuff.
Uh huh.
But the third one changed it a lot, and it didn't have anything. So I made a condenser mod that just re-added that. That somehow got really popular, like on YouTube, because I was used to having like 10 views on my videos, and this one suddenly had like 7K and more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how one of the now original members of FTB, T-Fox, he just found my video. And back then, I don't think he was an FTB yet. And he just kind of like asked me, hey, do you want to, like, can I use this mod in my mod pack? Do you want to join our community? Do you want to play on that? So I did. And then I joined him. We played Minecraft a bunch. Um, I kind of like moved to moderating the server and so on. And then he left, and he came back after a year or two, and he was already in FTB, and he said, like, hey, that's a cool mod you have on your server. What's that? And that was right after Bucket had died. I basically just made a, the Bucket Forge thing that was Caltron or something? I don't know. It was something weird. So basically, I made a replacement for that just so we have a public server running safely with, like chunk claiming and home command and stuff like that. And then he saw this and was like, hey, that's pretty cool. Like, basically, do you want to make this for FTB as an official mod? And that's kind of how I got there. Basically, they just took me in, they labeled my mods FTB utilities, and yeah,
So okay,
so I
so it
went
was
in
a little
there.
bit. It was pretty natural. You just sort of just flowed into the community.
Yeah, it was basically T Fox finding me.
Yeah,
That's all there is. Yeah.
that's really cool. So from there, you made FTB utilities, and obviously you've made
Oh
a
yeah, I
bunch of.
made a bunch of other mods as well. Like it started with just that, but then it moved on to quests, and it moved on to a bunch of pack specific things like for Academy, and there was a lot of FTB mods. I actually can't name them all probably.
Which one are you most
Um
proud of?
I think like it's weirdly it has never really been utilities. That was just like, yeah, this is big. This is pretty cool how I've made some separate specific things like claims with a GUI, which I don't think is been done before. Because traditionally you use the command like fclaim or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I made it with a GUI. And I was pretty proud of that. But then I made the quest mod, and I think quest mod is my favorite FTB mod. Because just because of how into well, I was really into modding. Like, I don't know. It kind of came to me like, I really want to do this. Like, that was something I really came back every day to just keep adding and adding to it.
So what
It was
I
basically that.
I've noticed it just from communicating with you over a bit. Like I know you're really quick in the way that you do things. I mean, just with an example, we have a bot on our server that you made on our Discord server, and you're just boom 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 like super quick. So I mean, where did you learn to program? Where are you traditionally taught? Are you self taught? What's
Um,
up?
that was really interesting. So initially, that was very long time ago. I think like 11, 12 years now. Probably more like 11. I used to make little games with Game Maker 8. And that was just like
Ah,
mostly you just put like bricks together, like like if blocks was basically just like drag and drop type of thing.
yeah.
But then I tried to get into more advanced things, and then I saw, oh, you can't do this. You have to write a script. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm just gonna copy paste this from websites, and then I think that was, I don't really know what language that was, to be honest. I haven't looked at it in a decade. I think it was some kind of JavaScript or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, just started with scripting there, but then I I used to do a lot of electronic stuff with like Arduino, but before that, um, I wanted to buy an Arduino, so I ordered it, but it would not come until like 2 weeks later. And meanwhile, I was just kind of looking at code. I wasn't able to run it because I didn't have an Arduino, but I just read the code for 2 weeks until I really understood it just
Yeah.
from reading it. It's it's so weird because well, it's obviously in English, so it's not that difficult, but it's basically like if I was reading a Latin book until I understood it.
Right.
So that was kind of super weird. But from there, I learned a little bit of C++. Then it moved on to Java, and then modding Minecraft. And just modding is like a lot of people say that you shouldn't learn from modding. You shouldn't learn Java. You should learn Java first somewhere else.
Uh-huh.
That's something a lot of modders will tell you. Like, you first go learn Java from here and there, use this source. I don't think that's really good. Like, sure, you should learn basics if you don't know any programming, but I think Minecraft is a really good example of something where you learn as you go because you have that really quick visual response. Like if you want to add a block, it's there in the game. You can
Mm-hmm.
you can see it. You can modify it quite easily. And yeah.
So, I'm actually really interested the fact that you brought up Game Maker as sort of your entry point into it because I think a sort of a hot take, I guess it would be a hot take by me, like a lot of people don't like MCreator and I don't know MCreator.
Mm.
But I kind of see that as like a Game Maker-esque mod for Minecraft because it's sort of
It is.
it's a stepping stone. And do you have that same sort of opinion? Because I think it's sort of a meme that it's bad, but I think it has its
Right.
place.
No, okay. See, I don't hate the concept. Let's see, I've just left the studio. Um, I don't hate the concept. I think it's a good idea. It's just that the problem with MCreator, or whatever people
Yeah.
pronounce it, is that like I haven't used it myself that much, but I just know it generates weird code. Like there was recently a snippet of code posted somewhere, and instead of like normal is if else function, it generates if and then not if. Like it does weird stuff because it's auto generated code.
I see.
And that I think that is the problem why people don't like it. Also, obviously they're licensing it, but
Yeah.
that's not really an issue with the concept. I think the concept of generating code is bad because it can be unpredictable. That's why people don't like it. Like it could create an issue like crashes and you don't know how to fix it because you didn't write it. That no one did.
Yeah.
Like you can't really. You would have to know what MCreator generated for you to fix it. So I think, like I always suggested as an alternative, would be to write a basically like a layer, like a mod loader that would read script. So basically, I eventually did that. I just wrote, the cube.js that
Yeah.
basically was kind of like something in between data packs and modding, because you can still add blocks, you can still listen to events of like player opening a chest or whatever, but it's written in closer to plain text than modding is because you don't have to build it, you don't have to um, decompile Minecraft and use Forge and all that. You just kind of, write script that does if chest opens, say something in chat or
So,
whatever.
so you think it's like a happy medium between the two extremes?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I wanted to be because I think that is a good solution. Like any of these, I mean, not just mine. I mean, any of these tweaker mods that let you modify Minecraft with a little bit of JSON files or scripts or anything like WorldGen. Like I think Kofcore has a whole thing where it just replaces Minecraft WorldGen and you can just write a big ass JSON file
Yeah.
to change it and all that. So I don't. Yeah, to answer the question, basically, I don't hate the concept. I just don't really like how MCreator does it.
Gotcha. That's totally fair. I think yeah, in the implementation it's a little bit odd, but I do appreciate the way that it kind of hopefully, I mean the end goal would be people jump to quote unquote real modding, but
Yeah, this is like they got introduced to modding. I think it shows you the code it creates as you go.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure there's like a window,
there is,
so
yeah.
you can kind of see what's happening. So I assume a lot of new modders who have used MCreator before, what they actually do is they just make a new Forge mod, and then they write that code in MCreator and then copy paste it in their new mod. I mean that's probably a way to do it because
Yeah, I could see, and then maybe learning best practices and cleaning it up later would probably be a good idea.
it's
Um,
also a lot, like it's dependent a lot on the person itself, like if they want to go and ask for help. And a lot of new people to modding, and especially new to programming, they get frustrated a lot when someone doesn't answer them right away, or that someone doesn't, like someone just they, from their perspective, they just come in the Discord, they ask for help, and then someone screams at them like, "Wow, this is bad," and you shouldn't do that. But that's all you know. You don't know how to do anything else.
yeah,
That's but yeah, I don't think it's a terrible introduction
that's
to
good. Yeah,
programming in general.
to switch kind of gears a little bit, I there was something that kind of caught my eye when you were talking about the game creator stuff and with especially with your Arduino. I find it really funny that you mentioned that you basically spent 2 weeks just reading code because you couldn't have the Arduino till
Hmm.
then. I, I think that's like when the best sort of creativity and like passion comes from is when like you don't have the thing at your fingertips to do it, like that like want kind of drives it. Like when I was younger, I didn't have a computer that could run video editing software, but I had
Hmm.
my mom mistakenly bought me the program and the box and everything and thinking that it would run on our computer at home. At the time it was like some Pentium, shitty computer.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
I spent like months reading the documentation on it that was in the box, and I learned everything about the program without even using it. And then finally when I got a computer that could do it, like I feel like I knew way more because like of the restrictions that were put on me. If I just got a computer that like was able to run it right off the bat and could just load it on, like I feel like I would just get bored in a bit. But because boredom sort of breeds inspiration, I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like it and that's kind of a big problem, is that we have so much available to us. I feel like people don't take the time and delve into stuff. um
Yeah. Yeah, this is why I like things like Ludum Dare or any kind of competition that puts
yes,
limitations on you.
yeah,
For example, like coding, like exercise marathons or whatever they're called, is basically when some it gives you a task that you have to complete, but it tells you, you can only use up to 4 kilobytes of RAM,
yeah.
or you can only do this and that, and you have to figure out how to creatively make this work, but also not be terrible. The I think Notch used to do a lot of these. Like he has a bunch
Yes,
of other games in
tons of
Minecraft.
them.
I like a lot of them. Not gonna lie. Like I looked at the code of his 4K Minecraft thing, and I literally can't read it. It's so complicated and simple. Like it's just couple lines, but then you start up the game and you're actually in a 3D world moving around. Yet there is nothing about loading images or anything. It just does it all with code, and that's impressive to me.
Oh yeah, yeah. The
Um,
the looking back at the way that older coders and had to deal with the limitations that they have, I have insane respect for them. Like being able to,
oh yeah, for sure.
like back then, like instead of having a full sprite, they would just have one sprite and mirror it in code because that would save literally half an image. And
Yeah, yeah.
that kind of stuff is super cool, and I love reading about that. And I think that can be translated into modding, in that like if you have that sort of optimization mindset, like it ends up making a better mod. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely. I have this. Basically, the reason a lot of people claimed my mods are super good with servers and performance, and that wasn't because I was like trying to make them optimized. That was because I couldn't not make them unoptimized or
Right.
optimized. So many double negatives. Um, that was I had like a really shitty laptop that I was making mods on, and it was basically incapable of running just Minecraft alone, and yet like I had to make mods on it, and if I couldn't run my mod, I knew no one can.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to make my mods like as optimized as possible. When it comes to rendering, when it comes to sending network stuff, that all had to be minimized as much as I can because yeah, I had to like otherwise I couldn't even make my mods myself.
Yeah, it was a
And
necessity.
that's where I developed this mentality of constantly optimizing before. Like I do it before the code is made. I just kind of plan out
Mm-hmm.
what I want to do and how I want to do it. And then I just think, okay, so if I'm gonna send some ID, I might as well just kind of store a map on both sides and then only send like a smaller integer value or whatever. And a lot of optimization is
Right.
done, especially for quests.
Well,
And
yeah,
someone
you're
like came on
dealing.
my Discord.
You're
What's
making
that?
a mod that, I mean, is being used pack wide. Like, it's not something that it's basically something that's front and center at all times. So it needs to be able to run correctly because it's not just a mod
Mhm.
that like sits in the background until you want to play with it. Quests is a focal point of a mod pack
Yeah,
usually,
yeah,
so it needs to work well.
it does. And someone came on my Discord and then like reported of a report of network issues. They posted, yeah, I'm using this mod, and this sends like half a gigabyte over the time, but yours does like a megabyte, and it's at most, and that's like so good.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
and
that really makes me glad when people like it.
that's great. Yeah, because I mean, I feel like a lot of the community, I mean, it skews younger usually. I mean, maybe modded skews a little bit older, but I mean, the base requirements of Minecraft are low when it comes to system performance. So I think a lot of people maybe don't have beefy computers or beefy network or anything like
Mhm.
that. If we were modding like a AAA super graphically intense game, I'm sure you wouldn't need to worry too much. But Minecraft, it's appealable to everyone, so you need to be able to make your mod work for everyone. Um,
A lot of people get surprised that when you tell them, yeah, you need 4 gigabytes to run this mod pack, they're like, wait, what? Normal Minecraft runs on 2
yeah,
or
exactly.
1 even. Like, hey, what the hell? But and this is like interesting that I this is something I thought about. In Minecraft, like let's say a mod pack is at most 200 megabytes, right?
Hmm.
With all the like if you have like custom images for main menu and all that, it can be a lot, but it's about 200 megabytes. But then there's games like GTA 5, which is 50 gigabytes, and yet it loads just as fast or
Right,
faster.
right.
Um, so how? What the hell? Like
Well,
it seems so weird.
without getting too technical, how would you? I mean, do you view that as like a big barrier to entry or problem with modding Minecraft in general right now? Do you see any solutions, or what do you
No,
think?
I don't. Like that's something that I don't think it can be fixed. It's
Yeah.
just the way it works. It wasn't ever made for like Bedrock Minecraft, for example. That one loads pretty fast and it's very optimized, and it runs on all devices pretty equally, like mobile even.
Yeah.
And that's mostly because it was just built from scratch. Like if Minecraft, and a lot of people say Java is bad, I completely disagree. Java is basically as fast as C++, and yeah, it uses more memory, but even that can be solved with proper, getting rid of it, not keeping things around in caches and stuff like that. But if it's Minecraft itself, it's just been over so much. Like it's been 10 years of constantly adding and changing things in it.
Yeah.
And Bedrock is so good for performance only because it was written completely anew. in a different language by different people.
With a different mindset.
Um, yeah. It was already made with the thought that we need to optimize this right away. It's not going to be possible to make mods for it, not with the mod loader like now, but we can figure out something else. And they did. They made data packs, they made add-ons, that is also pretty cool.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
modders really hate them, but they're
Well,
not that bad.
I think modders don't realize the future that we could have had if Microsoft went a different way. Like I remember, I mean, I've been around forever, and I remember when Microsoft bought them out, it was just like it was Armageddon. Like everyone was thinking
Oh
that,
yeah.
oh, that's it, we're done, Java's dead, fucking pack it up. But I mean, the way that it's been handled, it may not be the best. I'm sure people don't like some things that go on, but really, we have to appreciate what we got, and like the fact that they allow people to make a living from mods. They allow people to mod these like the crazy things into the Java version, and then there's also ways that people can do it in Bedrock in a little more friendly way that it can. People don't realize that it needs to run on PlayStation, and I think it runs on Switch too. Yeah, there's a Switch version of it, so
it's the
just
same code base too.
Exactly, so, yeah. So it needs to run on everything. So you can't have these complex things that'll crash it all the time. It's unfortunate. Yeah. It's unfortunate, but we have a happy medium, I think, here with Java and Bedrock coexisting. It's not like we're not getting the same.
It's really not that bad as some people think. It's first of all, we have to be glad that they allow it at all.
Exactly.
Like they have Bedrock. It makes so much more money, and it has, I think, 20 times more sales than Java Edition.
It does.
In total.
Yeah.
And it costs more, and it probably gives them a lot more headache with the constant crashes and everything. And they just continue working on it. You know, it's not like even you could say that they use it for like a testing platform for new features, but that's not really true because Bedrock gets that update right away as well.
Right. Yeah, I don't see the argument there. I think we should focus our energy a little bit, in different places. Which segue, if you have any opinions, I mean, there's kind of been a shakeup in the modding community right now. If there's anything to worry about, it would be this Overwolf thing that's happening. How do you feel? I mean, from the FTB side, from a personal side, how are you feeling about this purchase?
So, from personal side, I don't care really. Like, in the end, it's just a place where I put my mods on, and then I get back revenue from that. And it's easy for people because they have a launcher where you can just click and install. It's just very convenient for everyone.
Right.
I really always put aside personal issues with people or websites or whatever when it comes to users. Like if I don't want to personally put something, for example, like a web server, I prefer to keep everything on my own home server, even if it, crashes every now and then or something goes wrong. I just like to have that control over my own stuff more than it would be with any hosting company. But when it comes to mods, it's just it's just convenient for everyone. And from FTB's side, we will still keep all FTB mods there.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for us to remove them. Packs, however, will probably still be removed. Like there's nothing in for us to keep them there.
Yeah.
Because we have our own launcher. It's just yeah. But mods,
it's just is what it is, right? We just gotta wait.
Yeah. And mods, also FTB mods, will just stay there because also it's like for a long time, Slow didn't like he wanted to remove mods alongside with packs because just because we were done with Twitch.
Yeah.
It was nothing personal. It's just just contract ended and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, we were quite confused at the time because they didn't tell anything why did the contract ended. It just ended, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
um, our numbers were going up in all pack downloads and everything. So there was no statistical reason, but I guess now we know why, because most likely because of this purchase.
Yeah.
But um, but for mods, Slow changed his mind and said basically that, by removing mods, we only hurt people that use them and pack makers, because a lot of people use FTB mods, and there was no point in doing that. It's just petty to do it, basically. So we're keeping them there.
Makes sense. Yeah, like packs are one thing for sure. People can get that on the launcher, but yeah, you're right. I mean, like
Yeah,
they've FTB mods have sort of expanded to be, people use them for everything. I mean, I've used it in personal packs for backups and stuff. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, it doesn't matter in terms of if it has the FTB name on it or not. I think that's great. So when it comes to the switch over, are you worried for the future? I mean, about
Well,
of CurseForge
I'm not
or
gonna lie. I don't think they handled the AMA very well. Um,
mm-hmm.
from what I read, it just it just seemed like they don't know a lot of stuff, which is understandable. They just got it, but I at least hope that there would be more people from each community that they
Yes, yeah,
absorbed. Like if they had a modded Minecraft representative that would be able to answer questions that we asked. I think, yeah, Jared made a lot of good questions there. I think there was someone else. Was it CR? I
yeah.
don't
CR
remember.
put a big question up there.
Yeah.
Got it answered. It was about monetization. Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
think if they, I really hope, and it seems I kind of got the gist of it from the AMA, but I hope they don't apply the same mentality to each community. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's not gonna work. So
It's
hopefully,
that's a really good point. For example, modded Minecraft is really split. Like there is Forge and there's Fabric and there's even more loaders
yeah,
coming this way, and but it's not that simple as just to put mods on there and that's it. Like there's a lot of aspects to it. Like, you can't run Forge and Fabric mods together, but you can run Light Loader and Forge mods together, or something like that. There's someone should know about this, and also something people should understand there is how library mods work and dependencies and all that.
yeah.
Um,
So it doesn't tank point value and stuff, right?
yeah, well, we kind of figured out how the system works.
Yeah.
So a lot of modders have been a little bit cheating with it. I admit myself too. Um, how you could just
Split
not
up
really
mods and
intentionally, but you
stuff.
can just chain dependencies one after another, and that will just kind of boost your points a bit.
Yeah.
And that's there's a difference between using that for good reasons and using that for literally just gaining points. Because I've seen a lot of people would make a mod that they make a useless library for it and stick a dependency on it, and that's it. They never make another mod. Um, for example, my library is used by I think pretty much every FTP mod, and if it doesn't use it, I don't have a dep on it. There's a bunch of mods like banners mod or whatever. They just don't have any dependencies because they're not necessary.
Yeah.
And I used to like dependencies is another whole thing. People love making library mods just because they eventually get lazy. They kind of want to like not copy over code. They just want to stick it in one place and do it the way they do it. And then they kind of get stuck in this way. And I've seen a lot of, I would call them toxic libraries, which start out with good intentions. Like you just want to simplify your code, you can want to update your mods faster. Uh, if something breaks in the library, you just update it, and that's it. Like it just works. It's fixed for all 5 mods that depend on it. But when it comes to moving for Minecraft versions, they usually try to drag old features along. For example, things like setting the registry name of the block. It used to be done differently, and now that changes to events. And some people say, well, no, I don't want to break 20 of my mods, so instead I'm just going to use this really bad reflection hack to access that private method and change it with my library. And then it just gets worse and worse with every version.
Just
It just don't like
band-aids on top of
adding one
band-aids.
small hack. It just kind of like gets infected with all this. And I used to do that. I admit I had this. I don't remember what specifically, but I just know I've done like not good stuff with libraries that just keeps adding and adding. And then one version you decide, well, no, it's time to clean it up. And then you just look at all your old code and it's, oh my god, what the hell did I write? Like, what is this? I want to slap myself.
I think that happens to a lot of people, especially
Yeah,
just I mean it hindsight's 2020, that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Um, what kind of moving to FTB a little bit. Where do you see it now? What plans do you guys have now, and maybe even like a 5 year sort of thing? I mean, Minecraft is surprisingly as strong as ever.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's not like it's
I
going
don't
away
think it will
anytime
die
soon.
anytime soon.
No, so I mean, what do you guys have in the store now that 1.16's out?
Well, 5 years, that's a massive time span. That's
All right, let's
basically
go with
more than I've been in
all right,
FTB.
let's go a year.
Um, but just like in any unknown time in future, um, we're already starting to do more Bedrock because that's where all the people are going to. And I feel like once they make more add-ons, more additions to their add-on API, more and more modders will move to it because Bedrock is actually really nice. Obviously, it's a lot of like income comes from that with all the Bedrock add-ons, but it's not as bad as people think. Like people just say, "Oh, you can just like change a texture or whatever. You can change a recipe and that's it." But that's not true. Um, Bedrock actually has a JavaScript API that you can do stuff with. Um, and yeah, you can make pretty complex add-ons. I've seen some really good stuff on the Minecraft store. Minecraft store.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, that's one thing. More we always have a couple more packs coming up. I'm working on one now with Sonicer, who's basically the new pack maker guy for overseer of all pack maker guys. There is University mod pack, which Aaron has been talking about for a year now, I think, constantly. Uh, yeah, the pack I'm working on is an island pack. It's just gonna be like Skyblock, but in the middle of ocean, and you have like the story is your boat has crashed, and then you pick up metal scraps and salvage the parts from the boat, and then that's how you start off with building primitive technology stuff. You know, it's gonna use a lot of create mod. It's gonna have all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, and there's a bunch more packs we have planned. I actually really wanted to get into pack making, but make completely different packs. You know, the traditional FTB packs are like a kitchen sink pack. Then there is your expert pack. Then there is some kind of skyblock pack. And then there's variations of expert versions of those and so on. But we never really do RPG style packs. That's one thing I kind of wanted to do. And but then there's also a pack where it's entirely throwing out Minecraft and replacing it with a game. So you are still in Minecraft, but you're playing a different game, basically. You know, like resource collection or uh, whatever things Hypixel has. But that's I don't know really how they call it. Mini games. That's what it is.
Right.
So I was gonna do some kind of mini game, but it's really hard to come up with a unique mini game these days because pretty much everything has been done. And that's also kind of true for mods. You really, whenever I come up with an idea, there's always going to be coded or someone else telling me, "Oh, this is already done. This idea is shit." Damn it! I thought this is original, but no.
Well, do you like? I
It's
mean, I mean, but when you were
it's
making
expected
quest,
after 10 years of modding.
yeah, and when you were making quests, I mean, there was obviously HQM, and when you're making backup, there was Aroma backup. Like, so do you
Mhm.
see? I
Oh
mean, there's
yeah, see,
obvious,
a lot of these mods that
yeah,
are uh quotes clones of other mods, but not really. I've never like whenever I make a mod, I don't look at how the other mod does it. I've actually never played a quest back before. I think the no, I have. I played Agrarian Skies many years ago, and that
yeah.
wasn't even better questing. That was, I think, HQM
It
or
was
something like
HQM
that.
at the time, yeah.
And I didn't actually, probably didn't finish the pack more than 3 quests, because that's how bored I used to get from Manka. It's so basically the way I make mods is how I imagine I would want to use a questing mod, and that's how I made it. And a lot of people complain about the UI, like they don't like it stylistically because it's kind of futuristic. It's not really. I think Better Questing's default theme is more, it looks more like from medieval ages with the
Yeah.
browns and all that. It looks like it was more on paper than it was on like I don't know, a tablet or whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to go with the whole minimalistic future style. Not sure really, but yeah, that's just kind of how I made it.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, it definitely has a different aesthetic and a different style to it. Obviously, it's the same sort of idea, but it has a new coat of paint, and I appreciate that because I when I was talking to I think it was King Lemming when he was on, and he was talking about the thermal series. Like he sort of had the same idea,
Mhm.
is that he makes things for him to play, and he doesn't really care. Or obviously he takes in community insight, but
Yeah, yeah,
he makes it for him to play, and I think people like that mod because there's of course there's 1,000 different tech mods, but people that like thermal expansion like the aesthetics, like the I don't know, the intuitiveness of it, the interface, like whatever
yeah, yeah.
makes you go to
Well,
it.
I absolutely love thermal mods.
What was that?
I absolutely love thermal mods.
Yeah, and actually
Um,
that's pretty funny because I assumed you did because I can kind of see the aesthetic similarities and inspirations from both. It's
mhm.
interesting. Just like
It's
this.
also like I've spoken with Lemming before about some weirdness I found in his mod. I thought, wait, this is dumb. Why would you ever make this? And then I talked with Lemming, and he basically explained this. And I was just amazed. I was like, wait, this is great. I'm gonna do that too now. Like I think what he did was he only ticks his tile entities on server side, and he removes the tile entity from client side list manually, which I thought was very dumb idea, but it's not, and it does wonders for performance.
Yeah, yeah, he's exactly another person who's very
He's also very
optimization
great at like
minded.
optimizing. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, back when I had like horrible internet and a bad computer, I would use those because it didn't have. I mean, I remember when dynamos weren't even animated, and I appreciated that, or at least there was like a setting to not make them animated because it would like
yeah.
kill
No.
my crappy AMD GPU that I had back in the day. So stuff
Yeah,
like that, like going above and beyond is really cool, and I think a lot of people look at you and kind of see the same thing. So, but
I hope
yeah,
so.
I think so. I think so. But I appreciate you coming on, man. If you do you have anything to promote right now, you can pimp something out.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not really type to promote my own stuff.
Do you have like social media or something? I gotta put up a thing at the bottom.
You can put my Discord server maybe. That's all I really care about. I don't even go to Twitter anymore.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, check them out. I mean, that's how we discuss things, and I mean, you're always good conversation, and I appreciate that you're in our community, man. Thank you. Thanks for being on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.